response about their children. I want better for my kids than what I had or what I did. I want them to accomplish more. I want them to do great things. I want them to do good. My mom told me, she said, the proudest moment of my life is when I've walked into churches with you and they don't call me by my name anymore, but they say, that's Jacob's mom. She said, I don't even got a name anymore. Just, that's Jacob's mom. She said, do you know what that does to me as a parent? She said, I always pray for great things, and I understand her now. Because I look at that little wild tornado I've got. I say, oh God, you're bound to have great things for her. Man. She was giving me some instruction the other day. So we was going to the car, and Carolyn was just laughing at me, and I looked at Carolyn, I said, she's going to be a CEO somewhere. The way she can boss, and either a CEO or a lawyer, a good lawyer, because she's got negotiation skills, I promise you. One of those things. But every parent desires that, and guess what God is telling Zacariah? He's telling him the very thing that every parent would hope for. Your child is going to be great. There's going to be some great things happen. God is going to do some things in his life. And let me, as I close with this, the Bible tells us, as we get a little bit later into the story, we talk about faithfulness to follow the Lord. He was faithful in his office. He was exactly where he was supposed to be. I could spend a lot of time there, men, but God did not call us to indulge ourselves in excess hobbies and excess activities that keep us away from our families. Our families need us, men. Yes. Our children need us. Our grandchildren, whatever your role and your lot is, let your life be available to pour in to these lives. The Bible tells us in Luke chapter 1, and Brother Zach, if you want to pull it up, verse 59. I'll tell you what, let's go to 57, Zach. The Bible says, now Elizabeth's full time came that she should be delivered, and she brought forth a son. And her neighbors and her cousins heard how the Lord had shown great mercy upon her, and they rejoiced. Prophecy fulfilled, number 1. There's going to be great rejoicing at his birth. They rejoiced with her. And it came to pass that on the 8th day they came to circumcise the child. And listen to this. They called him Zacarias, after the name of his father. And his mother Elizabeth answered and said, not so. He shall be called John. They thought, Mama don't know what she's talking about. And they made signs to his father as to, I skipped one. Let's look at verse 61. This is a good one. And they said unto her, there is none of thy kindred. There ain't nobody in the family whose name is John. All right? Have you ever met somebody and they're all excited about their baby being born and they tell you the name and you smile on the outside? But on the inside you're going, what are they thinking? One of the criteria that we had with naming our dog, I told Carol, I said, I want to think about all the grade school jokes you heard about kids' names, and we're going to avoid those names as much as possible. Because kids can be cruel with name calling. They said, there's nobody in the family called John. What are you thinking? They wanted to keep it within the family. It's customary. He's to be named after his father. And some would say, it's a name. And in Jewish culture, that was a big deal. What do you mean, John? So they bypass Elizabeth. They start doing sign language, making signs to Zacariah. He can't speak. Said, what do you want to call him? He calls for a writing board. And he spells it out. John. And you know what the Bible says? They all went, what? And guess what happens? See, remember, the Lord told Zacarias in the temple, said, this is what you're going to name him. Elizabeth followed through with it. And then it comes to Zacarias. Now, let me tell you something. I don't think this was just a casual conversation. This family was in an uproar. You're not going to name him that. What are you thinking? These were tight-knit families. All the cousins were there. The in-laws, the outlaws, everybody was around. What do you think? And they all are astonished. I can't believe it. What is he thinking? What are they thinking? Nobody's called John. Nobody in our family's named John. But listen to this. When Zacarias obeyed God, when he finished writing in, his tongue was loose, the Bible says. And matter of fact, the first thing he did is he began to praise the Lord. I want to say, men, families, ladies as well, we have got to be not only faithful in living for God, faithful in the places God has put us, but also faithful to honor His every command. Because His command comes with blessing. What would have happened if they would have said, no, you know what? What if Zacharias in his pride would have said, I really would like a boy named after me? Got Simon Jr. What's wrong with, you got SJ, what's wrong with ZJ? Zacharias Jr. We'll call him ZJ for short. What would be wrong with, everybody like to have a namesake, but Zacharias said, I'm going to follow this. I'm going to obey God. I already got in trouble once for not believing. I'm going to obey. And as a result of his obedience, their faithfulness, him being what God asked him to be, do you see this? Do you see the pattern? Then it paved the way for John to fulfill the will of God. Did you know sometimes the biggest hindrance for our families, our kids, our grandkids, the people around us, is because, I hate to say this, but it's just the truth, it's because we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing. Amen. You mean I'm in their way? Yep. If you're living out of God's will, you are. If you're not doing what He's asked you to do, you are. If you're not obedient to His word, you are. You're doing harm. They'll call me obsessed. They'll say I'm weird. If I were to try to do this, my own kid, they wouldn't. Don't matter. At the end of the day, it's what does God ask of us? Amen. What does God say? I want to be committed. Not just committed. I want to be faithful. Yeah. I want to be faithful. Can we stand together this morning?